We're focused on financial misconduct by Jamie Spears, and we're going to uncover all of the facts and see where they take us.
Getting to know Britney as you have, what do you just think about what happened here, about what was done to her now that you've been working so closely with her?
I've used the words in my court filings, Kafka-esque nightmare, and I stand by that.
And from here, what do you see Britney doing? We just saw her post on Instagram. She's flying on a plane, and she said she's on cloud 9.
I can't say where she is, but she's in a much nicer place than this, and she is on cloud 9.
She, of course, is engaged. What does she want to do once this conservatorship ends? Because you fought so ferociously already to make that happen.
Well, that's a good question, and what I would say to that is, for the first time in about 13 years, that decision will be up to Britney and only Britney, and that's a great thing.
What do you think about the fact that all of this happened from the start? I know you weren't there in the beginning, but these incredible fans have fought and said this was never right from the start, and Britney finally found her voice, but it's been over a decade. How did the courts let this happen?
That's not something for me to comment on right now. I have respect for the courts. Judge Penny has been nothing but gracious and courteous to me. That's not what a lot of people want to hear, but that's the way I feel about Judge Penny. In terms of systemic issues nationally, this is something that the United States Congress is looking into right now. I do think conservatorship law is going to change. Today was a monumental day not only for Britney, but for justice, and also in terms of shining a light on conservatorship law generally.
I think out here we were surprised to hear that Samuel Ingham was on today. Why was he on, and what could happen to him from here? He was her lawyer for 13 years, and it doesn't seem he fought the way you have fought for her.
I'm not going to comment on Mr. Ingham. He can speak for himself.
What comments do you have on the New York Times investigation in terms of possible surveillance on Britney? I know you mentioned it today in court.
My comment on the New York Times investigation is I think it was fantastic reporting. I think the information was specific and credible, and I think there's going to be a lot more reporting and a lot more documentation that comes out in that regard. I will say, to the extent that Jamie Spears and representatives placed a listening device under the bed of Britney Spears and listened to her communications and read her private text messages, including with her prior lawyer, Sam Ingham, it's one of the most disgraceful, outrageous, and unfathomable things I've heard as a lawyer.
Mr. Rosengart, can I just ask you, what happens next, sir? What happens next with this? And will Ms. Spears have to undergo some sort of psychiatric evaluation, perhaps?
Mr. Spears has conceded that no psychiatric evaluation is necessary, and what happens next is the ultimate termination of this conservatorship.
Could the court ask, just in terms of how conservatorship law works, could the court want an evaluation to happen, or is it for sure no evaluation will
I'm
happen?
not going to comment on the specifics, but I do think it's pointing out that Jamie Spears himself in his last court filing said not once or twice, but 3 times that no evaluation is needed. That was all in a desperate effort, really, to avoid what happened today. He desperately wanted to avoid being suspended. He wanted to terminate the entire conservatorship in order to avoid him being deposed under oath, having to answer for his misconduct, and having to turn over his files. That's really what today's effort on their part was about, and I'm proud to say that they failed.
So many people have pointed out that Britney Spears was in a conservatorship, and yet she worked, she did tours, she did residencies, and that's so rare in a conservatorship. Again, why do you think that happened, and what's the Britney that you know? Because it seems like Jamie Spears tried to keep her capacity in question for many years.
He did, and it's fair to look at why. And was there a financial component to that? Was there a conflict of interest? I think the answers are yes.
What has been the reaction of your client, Mr. Rosengart? What has Britney Spears had
I'm not
to
going
say?
to comment on my communications with my client, but I think you could assume she's very happy.
Will this wrap up by her 40th birthday, do you think?
That's the goal.
And do you think Britney will want to get married as soon as she can?
That's something that only Britney can answer.